Welcome to Hardly. Each book is distilled into 3 stories, giving you the key ideas in minutes. Today we study together Michael Thompson's book, Shy by Design, 12 Timeless Principles to Quietly Stand Out, in which we probe into embrace imperfections to overcome inner barriers, building connections, through listening, not talking, the strength of quiet conviction in leading others. Michael Thompson is a career coach, a leadership lecturer for masters, students in Barcelona, Spain, and a strategic communication advisor to top business leaders around the globe. Don't go away. Hurdley, the editor, will be right back with the story. One of the most eye-opening lessons from the book comes from a small, crowded office space. Our protagonist, a shy and stuttering young man, found himself working in sales, a career that seemed to demand extroverted charisma. He was terrified, sweating through role plays and enduring endless self-doubt. His manager, a towering figure with confidence as natural as breathing, noticed his discomfort. "I stutter, and I'm terrible at this," the young man managed to say. His manager's response was surprising. "What do you want to do?" Instead of forcing him through the usual sales routines, his manager handed him a pile of cold leads and left him alone, saying, "The fact that you had the guts to show up tells me you'll do just fine." This act of trust allowed the young man to work in a way that fit him. Slowly, he began making 110 calls a day, not because he was the loudest in the room, but because he was determined. He stuttered through many of them, but on the other end, something magical happened. His clients started telling him, "You're different from other salespeople. You actually listen." This young man discovered that by embracing his imperfections and leaning into his quiet nature, he was able to connect with people more deeply. His stutter became a strength, making him more relatable and human to those on the other end of the line. All those years of beating myself up, and it turns out my unique selling point was being myself, he realized. The takeaway here is simple yet profound. Imperfection, when embraced, can become the very tool that leads to success. It's about showing up authentically and making the most of what you already have. But embracing imperfection is only the beginning. The story of a speech therapist and her young client takes us into the heart of connection through listening. This young man had been battling his speech impediment for years, believing that speaking better was the key to his future. His therapist, however, had a different approach. She asked him to watch videos of conversations and write down what he learned about the people speaking. Confused, he thought, "I'm here to talk, not to watch." But over time, this exercise shifted his entire perspective. He learned that the key to communication wasn't just talking, it was listening, deeply and intentionally. As he watched others, he noticed that real connection came from giving people space to reveal themselves. "Your challenge isn't speaking," his therapist told him, "it's listening." This shift in focus allowed him to truly connect with those around him, not by impressing them with his words, but by showing genuine curiosity in theirs. By putting his ego aside and quieting the internal chatter, he became the kind of person others wanted to talk to. In the end, the solution wasn't about learning to speak better, but learning to be present and attentive. If we want to build meaningful connections, the first step is to truly hear what others have to say. Listening is a mix of curiosity and empathy, and when practiced genuinely, It opens doors to relationships that can change your life. This focus on listening transitions us to a final, pivotal story about the strength of quiet conviction. Our protagonist had reached a point where he was finally comfortable in his own skin, though still shy and introverted. He found himself in a leadership position, tasked with guiding a team that seemed full of bigger, louder personalities. His instinct was to remain in the background, letting others take charge, but an unexpected challenge arose, a key decision that no one else wanted to make. Faced with the moment, he remembered a lesson from earlier in his life. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stand firm in your own quiet conviction. He gathered the team and said simply, "I think this is the best direction for us." His calm, understated approach won them over, not because he was the loudest, but because he spoke from a place of authenticity and thoughtfulness. This wasn't about bravado. It was about trusting his own instincts and showing his team that quiet leadership can be just as effective, if not more so, than louder styles. In his words, quiet confidence beats loud confidence any day of the week. He had learned that true influence doesn't come from shouting. It comes from consistency, reliability, and the courage to be yourself, even in moments of doubt. His team followed, not because he demanded it, but because they trusted him. This story brings us back to the underlying theme. Leadership doesn't require you to be someone you're not. It's about embracing who you are, imperfections, quiet strengths, and all, and using those qualities to lead in a way that feels right to you. These are not just abstract lessons. They are deeply practical. If you want to build a meaningful career, forge lasting relationships, and make an impact, the first step is to own your story, imperfections and all. When we embrace who we are, we give others permission to do the same. These 3 stories reveal a powerful message about the human experience. Whether it's the courage to embrace our imperfections, the discipline to listen instead of speak, or the quiet conviction to lead from within, the lessons here are clear. Let's finally take a one-time inventory. What is this 12 timeless principles to quietly stand out? To help you understand the essence of the book at once. 1. Embrace your imperfections. 2. Lead with listening. 3. Treat your curiosity as your primary responsibility. 4. Grow your confidence in private. 5. Get to know your heroes. 6. Friendships are forged in the follow-up. 7. Small is the new big. 8. Gain new eyes through the power of weak ties. 9. Share what you're learning. 10. Own your story. 11. Be bold in the moments that matter. And 12. Lift as you climb. As the editor of Hardly, I believe that by learning these principles, we can redefine what it means to succeed. We won't need to fit into society's mold of success, but can instead create our own paths built on authenticity and quiet strength. Each story comes from the most representative real-life cases selected by the Hardly team from this book. Beyond these 3, there are 9 other remarkable stories that are equally worth reading. If you wish to dive deeper, we recommend purchasing the full book, reflecting on the core lessons of imperfection, listening, and quiet leadership. It's clear these principles offer powerful tools for navigating both personal and professional life. One final story captures this blend of wisdom beautifully. In the book, a young woman, paralyzed by self-doubt, finds herself in a highly competitive marketing job. Surrounded by colleagues who thrived on fast-paced meetings and bold ideas, she felt invisible. her quiet nature often dismissed as a weakness. However, during a critical campaign that faced unexpected setbacks, it was her thoughtful, reflective approach that saved the day. Instead of rushing to offer solutions like everyone else, she stepped back, listened carefully to the client's needs, and proposed a simple but transformative idea. "I don't have to be loud to lead," she told herself, and her solution not only salvaged the campaign, but earned her the respect of her peers. This story reinforces that quiet strength, combined with empathy and deep listening, is a form of leadership often overlooked. It's not about being the loudest in the room, but about offering the most thoughtful solution. The principles of embracing imperfections, listening deeply, and leading with quiet conviction are timeless and universal, serving as reminders that true influence comes from authenticity and connection. As the editor of Hardly, I believe that by internalizing these lessons, we can approach future challenges with the confidence that our quiet strengths are just as valuable as more traditional forms of leadership.